Hey gang, Uncle Todd and Sonny here. Uh, ooh, yeah, it's been a while since I shaved. Think I should go with a beard? Look like a demented Santa? Might work for Christmas. Anyway, episode 4 of The Penguin. As you remember, last episode, the Penguin and Vic were getting away from the Maronis, and Sofia not so much. But we open a little earlier before Vic showed up. At which point, Mrs. Maroney is berating Oz because, he's trying to slip one over him. They knew they couldn't trust him from that very day he showed up at Blackgate. And reveals to Sofia that Oz is the one who killed her brother, not them. Not that it matters, they're going to kill both of them. And Oz, he tries to barter with the new drug. And then Vic shows up, and Sofia injures her head. Now the rest of the Maronis forget about her, and they go chasing after Penguin. She manages to crawl to the alley and calls her psychiatrist Julian and passes out. We then go back 10 years when Sofia was a young socialite, basically, and she had a charity she helped run that was devoted to helping suicidal teens because she had walked in on her mother, who had taken her own life by hanging when she was like 6 or 7, very young. Oz is her driver, of course, and he hasn't really changed much from those days. He's still ambitious and kind of obnoxious. Anyway, Sofia is approached by reporter Summer Gleason about the mysterious suicides from waitresses and hostesses that work at her father's nightclub, the Iceberg Lounge. They were all hanged. Mighty suspicious. Anyways, finding out that Summer is a reporter, Sofia blows her off. Then that night at dinner with the family, which is basically just Carmine, her brother Alberto, and her, after Alberto goes for one of his late night things he does, Carmine confides to Sofia that when the time comes and he's no longer there, he wants her to be the head of the family. Alberto, he just doesn't have the brains for it. He's too impulsive. And not to worry about the rest. They'll do as Carmine wishes. Right. And she starts talking about her mother and some of the things about her memory irks at her. So she does meet with Summer. And at this point, Summer reveals all these photos of the victims, and their necks do not show rope marks, finger marks. And they all worked at Club 44, the lounge underneath the Iceberg Lounge, where all the drops are given to high-ranking officials and such. And the implication is that it's Carmine who's been committing these atrocities. Oh, that's too much for Sofia, and she blows her off. It's a bunch of crap. If you try to bring this or print this or bring it to the authorities, my family will crush you and your career. And then she leaves. Well, at a father's birthday party, she is called Carmine. And it turns out Oz told Carmine about the meeting with Summer Gleason. And Carmine's upset. Why did she not come to him about this when she tells him about the deaths? And she blurts out that on that night of her mother's death, She had noticed her father had scratches on his hands, and her mother had had marks on her hands like she had been fighting. But she knows he's not that type of person, right? Carmine assures her, and then tells her to go home. So she and Oz are driving, and she doesn't want to speak to Oz. He betrayed her, and she knows why. He's got ambition. He wants to go up in the ranks, not be stuck as her chauffeur, no matter how much he tries to charm her, as it were. When they're pulled over by the police, and they arrest Sofia for the murder of Summer Gleason and for the other 6 victims in the suicide epidemic. And she's going to be taken to Arkham for 6 months for observation. And she is labeled the hangman by the press. Well, while there, she makes the acquaintance of an inmate called Magpie, and sees firsthand the effects that Bliss has on an inmate when she sees her take the drug. She's also assaulted in the cafeteria by an inmate who's not chained. They're all chained because they're all dangerous, right? When she wakes up, she is tended to by Dr. Julian. And she sounds a little paranoid there, but he just wants to help. Anyway, Sofia is then taken to the cafeteria, which is empty. She's unchained and given a fork. The inmate who attacked her is chained up. And the head doctor is watching. And Sofia does not attack the woman. The woman tries to attack her, and she drops the fork and gets away. And the woman grabs the fork, asks Sofia to kill her. Sofia doesn't, so she kills herself with the fork. Sofia is then given a shot, and when she wakes up, she is in the shock therapy room. And over Julian's protests, she's given shock treatment. In fact, she's given a lot of shock treatments. For the 6 months she's there, she's given a lot of shock treatments. And she's having some hallucinations about being in her mother's room and seeing her mother hanging. And when she goes to look, it's actually her hanging. And then her brother shows up. She's not been allowed any visitors till now. And her brother informs her that there's not going to be a trial. The head doctor has found Sofia to be unfit to stand trial. She's in Arkham indefinitely. And she tells him her father did this because he's framing her for those murders that he committed. And Alberto's not sure how to take that. We then cut to the present, where Sofia wakes up in Dr. Julian's office. And it is here that we learned he quit soon after her commitment to Arkham. He couldn't take the treatment anymore, watching her. And he thinks that her going to Italy is probably a good idea. She could start fresh, a new life for her. And she realizes the only reason he's been seeing her since she got out is guilt over leaving her at the asylum without helping her. And there's a certain attraction he has for her. And she tells him, maybe I do need a new life. And she leaves and goes back to the mansion where she shows up at family dinner and interrupts Luca, who's about to give a toast. And she kind of berates them all for her being left in Arkham and them not doing anything. In fact, most of them wrote letters to the judge saying that, yeah, she is sick. And well, she might not have been then, but she most definitely is now. She doesn't fit in with the family at all anymore. So she raises her glass and says, I'm going to start a new life for myself. Oh, this is really to everybody. She's obviously going to go to Europe. That night, her cousin's daughter, Gia, is lured into the greenhouse by Sofia with cake. Chocolatey cake. Now, Gia's a little afraid. Her mother has told her that Sofia is dangerous and could hurt her. And Sofia assures her, I would never do anything to hurt you. And when Gia tries to go back to her room, she talks her into sleeping out there with her in the greenhouse, like they're in the jungle. At dawn, the sun's coming in, and she wakes up. Gia starts to stir, but she tells her, you go back to sleep. I'll be back for you in a minute. And then she takes a duffel bag she had with her, goes back to the mansion, and puts on a gas mask. She goes in, checks the downstairs. Everybody there is dead. She goes down the basement, pulls the pipe out from where she had fed the gas into the air system, and goes upstairs and checks all the rooms. Yep, Luca's dead. Her cousin and her husband's dead. These people are dead. And she goes to Johnny Viti's room. He's sleeping by himself. And she takes his gun, which is on the nightstand, takes off her mask. Oh, she's also been opening all the windows to air out the house. And then she wakes up Johnny, who's kind of startled to see her there with his gun, and tells him, put your pants on. We need to have a talk. Wow. Even though it's called The Penguin, he's only in a few scenes, and I didn't care. Sofia is such a fascinatingly complex, scary, sympathetic character. And it is obvious she's learned from her father, just by the way he's treated her, how you really succeed in the Falcone family business. She's eliminated all rivals except for Johnny, and I think Johnny's going to be under her thumb. It's going to be declared an accident because basically, as Carmine's only living child, she's head of the family whether they like it or not. Anyone that could oppose that, they're gone. And Johnny, I think he's going to be finally scared of her now. He doesn't have anyone to back him. That was always the thing. He could talk and threaten her and all he wanted because he had Luca's backing. And they weren't going to do anything to him. They're not there anymore. So, and now we're set up with there's going to have to be a showdown between her and Oz now that she knows the truth. So who's going to actually run the Bliss business? That's an interesting thought. Probably Sofia. She's already got the connections from Oz. And Oz isn't really trusted by anybody. He's always been a double crosser, as he's proved. Yeah, very interesting episode. I really liked it a lot. I liked learning all about Sofia's backstory. And confidentially, I think she's a better main villain than Penguin is. I'd rather see a whole show about her. But that's just me. Well, please hit like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.